Storm on the Island by Seamus Heaney, published in 1966. Heaney's poem is presented as a dramatic monologue, as though we are listening in to a conversation that's already begun. As a result, there's a conversational, casual tone to the lines. Throughout, Heaney has the speaker use the pronoun we rather than I, to indicate the importance of community and collective responsibility. It is clear that the island is a tough landscape. There are no trees, and the earth isn't particularly fertile. There's just rocks, cliffs, and sea. No doubt this makes the islanders tough and hardy themselves. Yet, despite the confident opening assertion, we are prepared, they are not arrogant. The speaker explains the sensible precautions the islanders have made to withstand the frequent storms which afflict them, reflecting their humble view of themselves against the might and power of nature. This in turn portrays their vulnerability, and all humans' vulnerability, in the face of the destructive forces of extreme weather. Often in literature, the natural world is depicted as a source of beauty and tranquility. Here, it's quite the opposite. In this sense, an alternative view is presented of nature as something to struggle against and endure. In contrast to the first 6 lines, the final 8 lines are full of energy and action. Heaney uses a semantic field of war and violence when describing the effect and experience of the storm, which emphasizes its intensity and danger. Again, the islanders do not underestimate the threat of nature and both respect and fear it at times like these. Comparing the sea spray hitting the window to a cat turning savage is an apt simile, which captures the two sides of nature. Sometimes a cat is a friendly pet, but it can scratch and bite without warning. Its fickle nature is like that of nature. The poem concludes in its final line with a paradox. The wind can be neither seen nor held. It is literally nothing. Yet the islanders are still in fear. It's almost as though that they are more afraid of the fear of the storm rather than the storm itself. There is a second hidden reading to the poem. Heaney was Irish, and at the time he was writing the poem, there was a violent political struggle between Catholics and Protestants in Northern Ireland, which was called the Troubles. The political centre was the parliamentary building in Stormont, near Belfast, and the poem's title could therefore also be a pun on Stormont Island. Consequently, it is possible to read the poem as a metaphor for this conflict, with the violent weather representing the arguments, bombs and terror attacks carried out by extremists on both sides. The island's residents signify the majority of Irish people who had to stand by helplessly wishing for a peaceful resolution. This isn't an essential interpretation to understand, but it brings an interesting new light to the poem. The power and brutality of nature is a theme of Ozymandias, Exposure, and the Prelude as well. Useful points of contrast can also be made between the humility of the islanders in Storm on the Island and the hubris of the ruler in Ozymandias and the young boy in the Prelude. The double side of nature is also explored in the Prelude.